I wish someone had told me that your 20s are going to be full of suffering. And no, they are not going to be the best years of your life. Or if they are, most days you can't even see it. Somehow, we were sold this idea that once you graduate from college and settle into a job, your path is now set. That you are over the searching, exploring, and building period of your life. After all, isn't that what your college days were for? Except most of us don't fit into this cookie-cutter narrative for one or two reasons. Hi, my name is Joy, and I used to fit into this cookie-cutter narrative until I didn't. I quit my job in New York City and left New York to give myself a year or so to kind of explore and chase after my true dreams. Something I decided after years of immense self-reflection. To those who don't know me well, it seems like an impulsive decision, but if you know me, then you know that it was actually years in the making. In 2022, I landed a job that paid well and I worked really hard to get. It was years in the making, and I was in a relationship with someone. I was doing all the things you think a 20-something-year-old should be doing, and I was doing fine until I wasn't. The person I was dating turned out to have lied to me throughout our entire relationship, and the job I worked so hard to get was not what I thought it would be. And when everything unraveled, something in me kind of broke. I realized that nothing in life is quite guaranteed. That even if you did closely follow the unspoken manual of what you should be doing with your life, how to maximize your 20s, how to play it safe, you could still very much end up in a losing position and just feel very unhappy, even though on paper it doesn't seem like it. Up until this point, I worked hard to do things that seemed right on paper. And because of it, I was so reluctant to explore my curiosities, because a part of me felt like I would get punished for doing something different. I filmed my first YouTube video in 2021 and I took it down 10 minutes after because I was too scared that people would find it. I was so afraid of being judged for wanting something different. There was a part of me that felt like if I was in college, this would be the perfect time to explore all these interests. But since I am an adult, it was too late and I should just do all the right things. But after doing all the right things and falling short and not feeling happy, I said screw it. Because the truth is, in life, even if you do all the right things on paper, even if you do all the things that everyone tells you to do, there is a chance that your success and happiness is short-lived, because nothing in life is guaranteed. And there really is no formula to life. Life is unexpected, a little strange and weird. People who have clear paths and figure things out early, they are the outliers. Most of us take a little bit more time to figure things out and even chart our own path, even if it's a journey that doesn't make sense to other people. Anyways, stop listening to most people, because most people are not successful and most people are not happy. And if you want to be happy and live a version of life that bodes well to you, you need to listen to yourself and what you truly want, because deep down inside, you know what's good for you. So instead of seeing my 20s as a limited period of time when I am supposed to have everything figured out, I decided to see my 20s as a period of time for me to continue getting to know myself and to build a life that I am proud of, and to first and foremost ignore the idea of a checklist. The checklist of getting a significant other, settling into a high-paying job, and figuring out where you want to live forever. It is implied that if you get all these things, you will be happy. But the truth is, happiness is both more complex and simpler than that. Your happiness shouldn't be held hostage by fitting into society's standards. Your happiness should be your own. I have learned that being happy isn't even about doing the right things on paper, but happiness is about liking who you are. It is living in alignment with yourself. It is doing the things you want to do, even if they are not the things that make sense on paper. Heck, you don't even have to get it right, but to allow yourself to become the person you want to be or believe you're able to become. And in most cases, you need to give your dreams a sincere shot. Part of being unhappy is a result of living in conflict, when the chasm between the person you are today and the person you want to be is far too wide. You need to close the gap. But part of closing the gap means that you need to try. You're likely to make mistakes and fail again and again and again. I think the idea that I don't like the most about seeing your 20s as a checklist is there's an idea that you only have one chance to get it right. But because the truth is, whatever you're trying to achieve in your 20s requires so much trial and error. Putting the pressure to get it right on the first try is unhelpful. Sure, there are people who are able to do it right on the get-go and get it right, but most of us spend our 20s, if not our 30s, and most of our life figuring out what we want to do, whether we're in the right path, who do we want to spend the rest of our lives with. Putting the pressure to get it right and done the first try is unhelpful because it will only cause you to feel more emotionally burdened. I'm learning to judge myself less for trying, failing, and making mistakes because I know that I spent the first early years of my 20s hating myself and not liking myself for not getting it right in the first go, when it seemed like everyone but me had it together. But I've come to appreciate that trying in itself is an act of courage because you need to get out of your comfort zone, you need to look a little foolish, and being courageous is something worth celebrating. I've also come to learn that there's no such thing as the best time of your life, even though Hollywood, movies, and social media wants to make you believe that your 20s are supposed to be the best time of your life. Your 20s are special for a different reason. You still have the remnants of the teenage idealism, and for the first time you have the freedom to decide what you want to do with your life. But with that freedom comes responsibilities and a lot of pressure too. Easing myself from the pressure of having my 20s be a perfect, painless time and just instead embrace all of the days. Because in life, there are only days. There are good days, bad days, the mundane days, and real life at any given moment is just a combination of all these days. And there's no such thing as a genuinely perfect time. Because even from the bad days, you learn a thing or two or you grow as a person. And I've also come to peace with the fact that suffering is almost unavoidable. Or if anything, you need to suffer in life in order to grow. It isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you get out of your comfort zone, it means that you're gonna have to suffer. But it means you're growing, right? And isn't that what your 20s are for? One day, I would like to have all the answers. One day, I would like to fall in love again. I would like to be more settled in my career. And I would like to have a clear idea of where home is. But right now, I'm okay with not having all the answers. Having all the answers so early on in life also doesn't really make for a good story. The reality is this is my 20s. It's imperfect, it's flawed, but it is mine and it's very real. I don't want to limit the self-exploration period of my life to just a certain decade or a certain time frame or try to squeeze out the answers when they're obviously not there yet. So instead, I'm just going to appreciate my 20s as a special time because they're real and imperfect and I get to watch my own story unfold.